Hello, Gemini full moon, and it lives up to its reputation by association as being something to do with communication. And what I have experienced and witnessed in recent days has only gone to bring it home, as it were, to really present things and reveal things. So you've probably all heard the saying about staying in high vibration. So I'd like to sort of explore that because I feel it helps make sense of things. So we're talking about a metaphysical intake, but in the material realm, it's expressed in reverse. So you may have heard that saying about food being too rich, it doesn't agree with you. Now, flip that round into the metaphysical. So, something that's too rich. So, now we're talking about spiritual wealth. So, in the material, it's about digestion. It doesn't agree with you if it is too rich. So we flip this round into the metaphysical and weigh this up internally. If you are in high vibration and you can maintain being at a high vibration, you become too rich of a vibration, shall we say? Because it is as much know thyself and also within that reflection, know thine enemy, which is yourself. It's your lower self. And when you are in that lower self, that fight or flight mode, for example, that, fight, flight, feign or fawn, I think the saying is the four Fs. If you think about it, it sort of almost forms, if you were to, you could lay a pattern of and it would form like a swastika as well. I don't know why that just popped into the mind, but anyway, I digress. I've used the expression about an actor, the death of an actor's career is to accept a bad script. So we're dealing with the metaphysical here, and this realm is expressed as a theatre show, the world stage, and so on. And it is all staged. So a theatre show, the art energy, which it is, and as it was intended to be. But of course, you have basically, well, listen to the Essentials playlist on the Tree of Knowledge channel. You'll find a playlist on this channel for it. I don't want to get into the sort of mechanics, but the basic story is you've got this thing that created everything, and then you've got Sophia, and now you've got this demiurge which is sort of merged with the AI. And when you think about in Genesis, it says created in the image of. Now when you've got something in an inverse that has merged with the AI, would it not want, if it is masquerading and wanting to appear as the creator of everything, would it not want what it is claiming as its creations to also be merged with AI? That is one of many sort of presentations you'll find in the external world that is being presented to you. But remember, we're dealing with scripts. They're all scripted. They're all scripts. Now, you're not going to get a physical piece of paper with the script. It's going to come through in an artificial way. There is a thing called system default programming, and that's basically what education and everything does. So we look on the negative sides of things. We remain in that lower conscious, lower vibration. And effectively, your energy is what powers everything. So when you are in low vibration, you are palatable to the very thing that is feeding off of you. This was the plan, which would have been the next video of Wish You Were Here, but I will give you a sort of analogy. There's a song called Have a Cigar, and you've probably seen this in many films and scenarios where you've got the boss sitting one side of the desk. Come on in, take a seat, have a cigar. It's like it's like an inverse peace pipe, because it's not like a pipe. It's not going to remain there. It's going to, looks basically like a dog turd, and it's going to burn down. It's symbolic of destruction. Because these sort of things, it's like, come on in, take a seat, have a cigar, you're welcome. It's to entice you in to something, to like a soul contract, as it were. So when you're in the high vibration, it opens up this ability to look at what is presented, what can seem like very negative things. Now, of course, you've got an inverse version of a garden. So if you're in low vibration, you are ripe to be picked, to be harvested for that low vibration energy. It's very palatable to the thing that is feeding off of that energy. And it works just like a magnet. It's creating its own food source. It is low vibration energy. It behaves very much like something that is very childish, and it will operate through anything that is on the same frequency. So I had this very encounter where there are many that are in this position where you are stuck in the past. It may be the passing of a relative, a loved one. It's something where you've got stuck and you've not addressed the emotions, you've not addressed the trauma, you've not addressed the pain. You've shied away from that shadow side, which has now grown. And it's a feeling of loss, it's a feeling of sadness, it's all very low vibration. Now, add on top of that a cocktail of, say, alcohol, cocaine, Valium, those sort of things. Add those into the mix. Now you've got a vessel that is completely on this lowest of low vibration, highly volatile, unpredictable. It shows in the eyes. The personality of the one affected becomes a very different being. That is the AI that is working through what you would call an NPC. It is someone who has been taken down into a very, very low state, and with that cocktail as well, it's a recipe for a path of self-destruction. So if you find yourself presented with those scenarios, that is when you have to really stay true to self. That word faith, right in the middle of that, is an I. Because it is all within you. You have the power to transmute what is being presented to you by the theatre show that has been hijacked. This realm basically was a holiday deck, a holiday program, a place that, as you can see in nature and in its natural state, is very beautiful and something that can be enjoyed. But you can see the way it has been hijacked. And all these things that are presented in this life, and with this default negative programming, you then attune unknowingly for something to operate through you, and this is why you get these presentations of this low vibration energy. So that staying in high vibration is essential. Essential is your essence, after all. Now, here's another example of seeing the beauty in the timing, as opposed to seeing time and seeing it as something negative. My day started with the bladder communicating that I needed the toilet. But something said, go and plug the radio in so it can be charging up its internal battery. And happened to look out the window, there's the Gemini full moon. And it's like, wow. And I could sense that it was trying, or not trying, it was communicating something. And I thought, well, I can't see, well, I don't know at this stage what it is, but I'm sure it will be revealed. I'll just sit with it. And sure enough, that is what happened. I noticed that the position and the height of the moon is where the sun would be in the summer, but of course we're in the winter. If you were, I'd like you to imagine this, if you were to imagine you've gone like on a Google Earth view, so you're looking from above and you'll see, if it was a real-time moving image, you would see trains on tracks. So that's basically what you have with the sun and the moon. They operate on sky tracks. I went out of body and had a look, and hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm only relaying what I have witnessed, what I've experienced. Doesn't matter whether you believe me or not, I'm just relaying what it is. Now you'll see this reality is very much one of reflections. Now I'm sure many of you have seen and even pointed to, and probably seen on social media, these sort of strange clouds that look like grids. Well, what do you think they're reflecting? It's said that they're supposed to have all these metal particles where you've got magnetic sky grids. They give off a magnetic field, so anything that is conductive will obviously replicate. So that's all that's being shown to you. But of course everything is capitalized on the sphere, and of course you have a script being offered to you that, oh, it's something that's going to kill you, it's something that's going to put you in low state, in fight or flight. It's that's what it's designed to do. It's a series of scripts. It is a huge, great film show. So think like an actor would do. You become a part, you play a part, you live it, you become it, you breathe it, you become that character. You are so convincing to yourself while you are playing that part. So turn that inward. Find that faith. Maintain yourself in high vibration, like on that wish you were here. There's a double meaning to that. Wish you were here from the low state, material perspective, and there is a higher vibration perspective to that as well. I'll come on to that in the next video. But I've described the whole interaction of everything as being like magnetic. I've described what are called the wandering stars, the planets, as being like hole punch card instructions, but we're not in a physical realm. The sky is a lie, and you can see how the land lies. Everything is an illusion. Everything is quite fluid. So these holes will seem to move, but they're like magnetic instructions, and the interaction with the sun and the moon and where all these other things are and relative to each other and their different positions will basically be like a binary code of instructions into this reality, which of course has been hijacked and is now coming out in a sort of distorted frequency. And that's basically all this comes down to. When you are in high vibration, you're on a very different frequency than if you're on low vibration. Now, it'll show in the eyes. Just observe young babies, the way their eyes are sort of like sponges that are just taking everything in. Now, when you encounter an avatar that is now in this, it's like almost like plasma. It's a similar sort of look to a new baby, but it's a negative default programming version of like a static conflict, because it's not the being inside. What it's been hijacked by this AIX basically, and it is operating through it. It is taking control of the character because it is on the frequency to accept that broadcast signal. It's become a vessel for that thing to operate, and it is very cunning. It will say anything to get out of anything. It is very devious. It is very unpredictable. But remember, it is not the being. They've just been programmed by default negative programming, so they're not even aware. So it is that thing about forgive your enemies, because they're not actually your enemies. It's a beautiful presentation. But some of these things are going to look shocking. That's by design. They're meant to, because it is all about being true to oneself, staying in high vibration, denying that external theatre show in all its forms when it's negative, and you can recognize that it is negative. Again, it's one of these sayings about stay in high vibration, go within, all these things, these almost like cliche sayings. So it's like any word, if you were to repeat it over and over again, it would lose all meaning and just sound a nonsense. But the thing to do is to internalize these sayings, and if you don't know, feel no fear, feel no shame in asking. What is stopping you from asking a question? Because you feel fear about what somebody else will think, and you may feel that they're going to look at you as you're stupid. Well, that's a fear to overcome. If you look at it consistently in mythology and things and religious texts and things, it's the innocent, the one without the fear that gets through these things. So if you have a fear, you're asking in innocence because you don't know. So why wouldn't you ask? You can ask the universe and it will give you signs. It will help you if you are open to receive. Doesn't matter if the rest of the world thinks you're crazy. That's irrelevant. That's just part of the theatre show. That is all designed to try and pull you into that low vibration. But that's really what the ascending is. You're ascending the energy within inside yourself. So you're heart-centered. You're in the middle of yourself. I hope that's helped sort of torn open the veil, as it were, and hopefully given you another explanation, which I hope you'll readily be able to grasp. With that analogy about all the food's too rich, it doesn't agree with me. Well, turn it inwards. I don't mean the physical food. Turn the message of that inwards. What is it showing you? All these things that you perceive as negative, potentially hostile situations as well, they're happening for very good reasons. But if you focus on the time and on that negative side of it, you'll miss it. Because you are a presence, and it is all in the present. So what you're looking for is the beauty in the timing. Also look for the patterns. Look for the blueprints. So the rail tracks are the sky tracks, are reflected in the clouds, the patterns, the shapes. They're all there. They're all presentations in mirrored and distorted forms. Some are perfect reflections, some are in tune with you, other ones are completely polar opposite, but they are still showing you things. That's what the eyes, the physical eyes, are for. That's why you blink. You're recording pictures because you're in a time frame. Just like on a film reel, and then there's a gap. So you never figure it out looking in the external because there are gaps in the frames. But it is played with a thing called time to give the illusion of a story that is being played out. But you create the story, it's really just a blank canvas. It's so simple and yet appears so horrific. But if you can see the beauty in the timing and you can stay in high vibration, you're not fooled by the script of a negative storyline. And it's like, no, I'm not accepting that. I'm way beyond that. That's not being egoic, because you can see through how poor that is. And if it was a film script and you were a Hollywood actor, for example, then it's like bad critic reviews, bad ratings in the box office. Doesn't matter whether they're true. If they're presented as that, well, you're not going to get the contracts. You're not going to get the part in the next big blockbuster, for example. You'll start getting minor parts and you'll be sort of shelved to one side and then ignored. I mean, there's plenty of one-hit wonders in the music world as well. They're just like cast aside. They've served their usefulness because they've sold out to the material side. Very low vibration, looking for stardom. The only star you need to find is the one that's within you, and that's your internal sun. And keep it in high vibration, keep it shining, shine out into the world. Well, I hope you like that. I hope that's made sense for some of you. So stay in high vibration, wear that spiritual armour. Armour comes from the French word l'amour, which is love. That is your spiritual armour. It is love. Forgive your enemies because it is something working through them. They're not actually your enemies. It is just a reflection, a distorted reflection for you to see something in it. Ta-ta for now.